to Big Beats Fucking Metal Show. Welcome to Big Beats Fucking Metal Show.
Yo, what up, nibbers, and welcome back to Big Pete's Metal Show. And this one is going to be a bit shorter. I'm not going to be talking much about the albums I'm talking about because I'm going to try and cover 20 albums in the same amount of time I usually do my lists for 10. Yep, 1988, there's a shit ton of albums, and we're going to keep doing these lists because we've been in a dry spell for new albums. I haven't reviewed a new album in a while, and I'm not including the new Machine Head album, which was more of a rant, not a review. So, anyway, let's get into this bitch, shall we? And starting off with number 20, we have Voivod with Dimension Hatros. And that might not be how you pronounce it, but that is the album. And, you know, this album, it's a great album. I put it at the top of my list, 20 rather, because this is a band I'm just getting into. I feel like this could move up a few spots, though, in the future, but it's worthy of recognition on the list. Coming in at number 19, we have debut album from Rob Flynn, as well as his first band, Vio-lence. I'm in a love-hate relationship with Rob Flynn right now because of the new Machine Head album, but regardless, I'm going to be seeing Machine Head on Wednesday. I'll be sure to cover that. Let's get back to the list. Vio-lence, Eternal Nightmare. Classic thrash album. Just good shit. Coming in at number 18, we have third album by German thrashers, Destruction, Release from Agony. And the last one with Schmier until his return in 2000. Classic album. Classic album. Number 17, we have Ozzy's fifth solo album, No Rest for the Wicked. First album featuring Zakk Wylde on guitar. Good album. Good shit. Very good shit. What were we at? Coming in at, yes, number 16. Now we have Tankard's third album. Coming off right in a row consecutively, 86, 87, 88. The Morning After. This also new remastered. It comes with the Alien EP on the inside, 2 discs. That came out in 89, but regardless, Morning After, number 16. Now, number 15 is it's not so much an album, but I'm throwing it on there anyway just because of how much I love it. It is an EP, which is also the second release from thrash metal band Sacred Reich. We're talking about Surf Nicaragua. Such great tunes. It's only an EP, 6 songs, 2 live tracks. Such awesome stuff. And the remaster has got a bunch of the old stuff on it too. This has got like 14 tracks total. But yeah, great stuff. Coming in at number 14, the reason why I wear leather, Judas Priest, and their 11th album, Ram It Down. Now, a lot of people don't look fondly on this album because it's kind of overshadowed by Turbo, which a lot of people did not like, and I think this is way better than Turbo, and I just love Judas Priest, and I love this album, and this is very, very much a step up from glam wannabe Turbo. Where were we? Number 13, debut album by Thrasher's Forbidden, with their almost self-titled album, Forbidden Evil. But who can we blame them? They're evil anyway, so it can be basically a self-titled album. Classic thrash. Good shit. Coming in at number 12, sophomore album by the very first death metal pioneers, not the very first, but one of the first death metal albums by, of course, Death, you guessed it, Leprosy. Such a brutal, fantastic album by Chuck Schuldiner. Great work. Great shit. Coming in at number 11, we have Young Boys from the Bay Area, Death Angel. This is coming 1 year later after their debut, and all these guys are still very young. Drummer is 15 on this album, and they just shred 11 tracks, 50 minutes worth of music of just awesome shit. Just as good as most of the other older guys were doing at the time. Number 10, now we're cracking into the top 10, we have Suicidal Tendencies' third album, How will I laugh tomorrow when I can't even smile today? Such great shit on here. You know, Suicidal Tendencies is an awesome band. They fathered Robert Trujillo, who went on to play for Ozzy and then Metallica, as you know him today. And I believe this is the first album with him on bass. Such great stuff. Number 9. We got, now I might get some shit for this, but we got Megadeth and number 9. Now, so far, so good, so what? It's a fantastic album, but there's just some other stuff that I really like more, and this is why it comes up to number 9 in the list. I do love this album, though. Number 8, the Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and it's written twice in the title. 7th, this is their 7th album. Yeah, they're pretty good with numbers. Pretty edgy with them numbers. All kinds of tracks on here I love. This is one of their first concept albums, I believe. And it's just an instant classic in my mind, which makes it number 8 on the list. However, there's all kinds of other thrash being shit out all across America at the time that was just blowing out everything else out of the waters. And one of those bands or Nuclear fucking Assault. I love these guys so much. Dan Lilker, he's the man with the big fucking fro on the back. I love this band and I love this album. Their second album, Survive. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Number 6, we have Bay Area Thrashers, Testament with The New Order. Their second album as well, coming 1 year after The Legacy in 87. This album I think is a big improvement over The Legacy. The Legacy was good, but I think this album, my personal belief is that this album is a lot better. Cracking into the top 5, we're going down now with Flotsam and Jetsam, No Place for Disgrace. And if you haven't ever listened to this album, do yourself a favor and listen to it. It's such a phenomenal album, and it's coming off of the success of their first album, which fathered the bassist Jason Newsted, who went on to play for Metallica. That album, if you didn't think that was incredible enough, this takes things a step higher. So, great, phenomenal work by them. Number 4, my favorite fucking band, Slayer, with South of Heaven. God, do I love this fucking album. And do I love Slayer. Rip them, they're retiring. But need I say more about this album? Number 4. Number 3, we have New Jersey Thrashers, Overkill, with their third studio outing, Under the Influence. So many great tracks on here. Shred and Drunken Wisdom, End of the Line, some of their most underrated stuff and the entire Overkill discography on this album. Such a banger. I love it. Number 2, Anthrax with State of Euphoria. Now I know a lot of people didn't like this album as much, being in between Among the Living and Persistence of Time, but I fucking love this album. I can't say enough good about this album. It's just fantastic to me. Doesn't have to be for everyone. Remember, this is my list. So Anthrax, number 2. And before we get to number 1, I'm going to go over a few honorable mentions really quick. We got Manowar, Kings of Metal. We got Van Halen's OU812. I love this band, Van Halen, always have. Not very metal. And jumping from not very metal to extreme metal, we have Carcass, Reek of Putrefaction. Their debut album, also one of the first, if not the first, grindcore album to come out there. Such shitty production, but so fucking heavy. Now, number 1, we got Metallica and Justice for All. First album to feature, or not so much feature, Jason Newsted on bass. However, the lack of bass in this album could be overlooked due to the fact that the awesomeness and the fucking intensity and the structures and the heaviness of some of these songs. James Hetfield sounds like he could be doing Slayer vocals in some of this album. If you really pay attention, his voice is got to be the best in the entire in his entire career on this album, and some of the solos and riffs and just whole song structures that the band comes up with in this album is just phenomenal. It's just my personal favorite Metallica album. I like it more than Master of Puppets. And I know Master of Puppets doesn't have to be the all holy grail of music. I know it seems to be with most people, but it's not for me. So that's my list of the top 20 albums of 1980. Do you agree? If you don't know any of these albums, I suggest to go fucking listen to them because they're all fucking great. Now, that'll be it for me. This has been Big Pete's Metal Show. I want you to listen to metal and keep it brutal, and peace out.